right, thank you all for tuning in to WJC LP 98.3 FM Chicago. And with that, I'm your host for today. My name is Chef Badu. I'm a parallel entrepreneur and a wealth multiplier. I'm the founder and CEO of Badu Enterprises LLC, which is a multinational conglomerate in the finance industry. And what we do is we provide a suite of financial services, including our marquee company, which is Badu Tax Services. And that's the firm that does tax preparation, tax planning, and tax representation for individuals and businesses across all 50 states in the U.S. And we also have clients in over 20 countries at the moment. Then we have Badu Investments LLC, which is our real estate investment company. And what we do there is we invest in apartment buildings, mainly on the south side of Chicago, in efforts to restore traditionally underserved communities. And we have the Badu Foundation that provides financial literacy education to the youth ages 6 to 18, where we teach them on topics such as budgeting, saving, investing, and scholarships. And last but not least, my purpose in life is to inspire and support the super hungry to take hold of infinite resources in order to create an abundant lifestyle. Not a scarcity, but an abundant lifestyle. So with that, welcome to my show, Money Talks, where all we talk is money. I'm your host, Jeff Badu, and we're live today on the radio, WGHC LP 98.3 FM Chicago. Right? You can also catch us on our website, WGHCradio.org. Once again, that's WGHCradio.org. We're also streaming live on Facebook, and then we're streaming live on Instagram. As usual, if you don't mind liking and sharing this video. And then also, right, if you can, post in the comments just where you're listening from. Just let us know where you're listening from today. I'll be sure to give you a shout out, And with that, let's go ahead and, so for one, the topic for today is some of the top personal finance books that I've read personally, right? Some books that have helped me get to where I am today, helped me create a sense of abundance in my life, and just allow me to live a more fulfilled life, right? And especially when it comes to the financial arena. These are books that have taught me not just finance things, but also personal development, right? Life topics. But in general, we'll be focusing on the financial aspect, but always remember that life is a well-rounded, balanced game. It's not just about the money, right? You do need money to do certain things. You do need money to fund certain things in your life. But what these books have actually taught me is that it goes beyond the money, right? You need the money. Trust me. Anybody that tells you you don't need money is a fool and a liar. You need money. Everybody needs money right now, right? And so all that they're saying there is don't allow the money to be what drives you. Let your drive be what drives in the money. Once again, don't allow the money to be what actually drives you. Don't let the money be the main reason as to why you're doing something. Let the money instead, right, come on the back end, meaning let your passion, let your purpose drive you, and then the money is simply a reward, is simply something that fulfills the value that you're giving to society, the value that you're giving to individuals or to your clients, to your community, whatever it is. And so for me, when I discovered my purpose, which is to inspire and support the super hungry to take hold of infinite resources in order to create an abundant lifestyle, I said, you know what? From this day forward, this is what I'll do until it's all said and done. And even when it's all said and done, I will pass this on to other people. I will pass on the legacy so that other people can do the same, right? So always think about that. It's not, we call this show Money Talks, where all we talk is money. However, right, we have to understand that, it's not just about the money. The money is just a reward for what it is that we do for society. And so before we get into the top personal finance books that I've read, and then I'll also name off a few other ones as well. They didn't crack the top, the top 10, but I think they're notable to check out. Before we get into that, let's get into the market report. This report is as of October 8, 2021. So stocks closed last week generally higher despite a weak jobs report. A congressional deal to extend the debt ceiling until early December helped drive stocks higher during the middle of the week. A poor showing last Friday was not enough to prevent the benchmark indexes from closing the week mostly in the black. The Dow enjoyed its biggest weekly gain since June. The S&P 500, which is composed of the top 500 companies in the U.S., advanced. So the S&P 500 advanced, while the global Dow ended the week up over 1.3%. All right. And then the NASDAQ, which is composed of technology stocks, eked out a gain, but the Russell 2000 dipped nearly 0.4%. Among the market sectors, energy jumped 5%, financial rose 2.3%, industrials went up 1.8%, and then utilities went up 1.5%. All right, so let's see what happened on Monday. So overall, the stock market was up last week. That's the general consensus. But let's see what happened on Monday. Wall Street did not get off to a strong start last Monday. It was actually pretty bad. The Dow fell over 320 points and NASDAQ lost more than 2%. A sell-off in shares of tech and growth stocks, including a major social media company, namely Facebook, led equities lower than last Monday. All right. So with Monday's downturn, the NASDAQ has declined about 7% since its September 7th peak, as it inches closer to negative 10%, which is correction territory. So they call something a correction when it's down 10% or more. All right. So basically, Monday was a bad day in the market. I think I got on a radio and pretty much said, yeah, last Monday was pretty bad. It was very, very bad. But let's talk about Tuesday. What goes down must come right back up, right? The stock market doesn't stay down forever. And there's a notion, you fall down 7 times, you get back 8. And that's what happens in the stock market. It might fall, but you know for a fact it's going to get right back up. And I encourage you to do the same as well when it comes to your investments or just life in general. Right? Follow that pattern. Even if you fall down, try to get back up, because that's what truly matters. It doesn't matter if you got back up 7 times, right? It matters what you did on the 8th time after you got back down 7 times. You went up 7, and then you got down 7. What did you do on the 8th try to help you get to the next level? That's a question I'll be asking yourself today. All right, so last Tuesday, tech shares recovered from Monday's decline to help drive the market higher last Tuesday. So the market actually went up. The NASDAQ went up 1.3% to lead the benchmark indexes. S&P 500 went up 1.1%, and then the Dow also went up 0.9%. All right. And then Wednesday, Wall Street ended last Wednesday generally higher on news that Congress was making progress toward a debt ceiling resolution. By the way, I don't know if you guys know, but the U.S. government relies on debt. They rely on borrowing money in order to pay bills. Without borrowing money, they can't pay their bills on time, which in a way is pretty bad. So one thing that I've learned from that, well, I can do what the U.S. government does, but instead of using the money to just pay bills, why not use it for investing, income-producing assets such as real estate? And that I can borrow money from somewhere and then use that debt to create an asset such as rental property, rental income, and then the tenants pay off the debt every month, and then I pocket the change, basically. Whether I'm, paying bills with that money, whether I'm starting a business, funding my lifestyle, or buying more properties. So I'm like, why not do what the federal government does, borrow money, but instead of using it just for bills, why not actually invest it and get a return on your money? So without the government borrowing money right now, if the government were not to borrow money, the government would go bankrupt. Repeat that one more time. If the federal government does not borrow money, they literally shut down. They go through a shutdown, and they pretty much go bankrupt. All right, that's pretty scary. And how do they pay off that debt? Is they use taxpayer dollars, basically. They use your money that you pay in taxes to pay off that debt. But what you can do is you can be much smarter than that. You can use tenants' money. You can use investment income, passive income to pay off the debt. That way you're always in the green. You don't have to borrow money just to pay bills. So, one question I would always ask is, why are so many people broke? And then I look at what the government is doing, and I'm like, man, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. Right? So you have to lead by example. You have to lead by example. So let's get off that soap opera in a second, and let's get back to the report. So stocks posted a third straight day of gains last Thursday, following the deal to push back the expiration of the debt ceiling to December 3rd. So the government right now has until December 3rd to pay bills, basically, right? To pay bills. And then a larger than expected decline in new claims for unemployment insurance also helped bolster investor confidence. Larger than expected decline in new claims for unemployment, meaning the unemployment rate went down. So overall, the stock market went up because of that news. Last Friday, the Russell 2000 went down 0.8%. NASDAQ went down 0.5%, which headed the declines. All right. And so far this year, the Dow Jones is up 13.53%. The NASDAQ is up 13.12%. The S&P 500, the top performing index, is up 16.91%. The top 500 companies in the U.S. are up, or the index at least, when you mix them all up, are up 16.91%. That is big. So if you just invested in the index, you would be up a very, very handsome and sizable amount right now. If all you did was invested in the S&P 500 index, let's say, for example, we got one called SPY, Sector Spider ETF of the S&P 500. Right? If you just put your money in that, you literally put in a ticker symbol SPY, and you bought that, you'd be up a very, very nice amount. Some people will say, oh yeah, why not get greedy and put it into something like Apple, Microsoft, Tesla? That's great. You'll make money, trust me. But had you just invested in the index, and this is what Warren Buffett encourages too, by the way, had you just invested in the index, you'd be up a pretty sizable amount. And you also lower your risk of downfalls because we're talking about the best of the best companies. Imagine putting your money into the best of the best. How in the world can you lose money at that point? You only gain money. And why do we need to invest? It's because of, one, inflation. Inflation right now is at about 6%. 6%, meaning that if your money is left sitting at the bank right now, you're losing 6% of it because the bank isn't paying you any interest. If you got $100,000 in the bank, you basically lost $6,000 because of inflation. Because that same $100,000 can only buy $94,000 worth of stuff because inflation went up 6%. Right? That's the concept of inflation. If you leave your money just sitting in a bank, you will lose pretty much all of it. Now, you do want to have something in a bank. Right? You want to have at least 3 months of expenses, monthly expenses in the bank. Right? You always want to have this, no matter what environment we're in. I'm talking about money on top of that. Let's say you got 4 months, 6 months. You got to get that moved into the market. Put that in real estate. Put that into a business. Something that has the opportunity to gain. Of course, you have the chance to lose. But if you're dealing with the market, I just read you figures where we're up 16.91% in the S&P 500. How could you lose investing in an index? S&P consistently has gone up every single year. Right? Every single year. And then the global Dow is up 15.46%. All right. So with that being said, my advice to you today, number one, if you're not in the market, you probably should be in. right? Not saying you have to be in, but I'm saying you should be in it. You should be investing your money. If all your money is tied up in a bank, you're literally losing money right now. Things are getting more expensive. Inflation is when things get more expensive. You might have noticed gas prices. You might have noticed restaurants. I ordered something from Grubhub the other day. Turns out, just a few items, $50. Delivery, tax, all of that. The tip, all of that. $50 just for like 2 meals. Or I should say 1 meal with a few items. And that was it. You go to the restaurant nowadays, you're spending at least $50. At least $50. Right? So inflation is when things get more expensive. And with COVID-19, we're seeing a supply chain disruption where people are producing less things. When you produce less, that means supply is lower. And that naturally means demand will be higher. What happens when you lower supply and increase demand? Prices go up. It's simple. It's simple economics. It's not that complicated to comprehend. If you make less of something and people want more of that thing, the prices have to go up, because if not, then the suppliers will run out of that thing. So how far will inflation go? Who knows? Maybe 10%, 12%, 15%. How do you combat inflation? You got to first of all, you need to make more money, and you need to invest more money. You might want to cut down on some spending too. Maybe get a little more efficient with your spending, but don't mean live a scarce lifestyle. Right? Don't be in a mode of scarcity. Be in a mode of abundance while being smart with your money, though. Meaning, don't always overspend in areas that you don't need. Clothing, for example, that's a big area that people tend to overspend. Right? You don't need a lot of clothes to survive. You don't, especially with COVID-19, where there's restrictions, there's shutdowns, lockdowns, and all that. So you do have to be smart with your money, but you also don't want to live a scarce lifestyle. That car that's sitting in the driveway not making any money, either start making money with it by renting it out to somebody, or just get rid of it, sell it. Right? It's not doing you any good by sitting in the driveway collecting dust all day. And in Chicago, if it's sitting in the snow, you're really losing value on that car. Right? So you do have to be smart with your money. Analyze your budget at least on a quarterly basis. Right? So just something to keep in mind. Inflation is very high. And speaking of inflation, let me actually read what's to come ahead this week. The latest reports on inflationary trends are available this week. Transitory or not, inflation has been rising, right? Has been rising for the past several months. The Consumer Price Index, CPI for short, has risen 5.3% so far this year. The Producer Price Index is up 8.3% so far this year. Import prices have increased 9%. Export prices have increased 16.8%. My goodness. I think inflation might hit 10% this year. Meaning if you got $100,000 sitting in the bank right now and you don't invest it, it will turn into $90,000. Or it'll be worth $90,000 because it can buy 10% less of stuff, basically. All right, so why do we need to invest? Number one, we need to be able to outpace or beat inflation. If we don't, we'll lose all our money in the bank. Number two reason why we invest is to take advantage of compound interest, money that grows over time. Right? This can be real estate, rental properties. This can be the stock market. This can be life insurance. This can be a business that you're investing into, whether you're actively involved in it or earning passive income. Right? You have to know these things. These are the fundamentals when it comes to money. You have to be smart when it comes to money. If you need resources, check out the website, jeffbadu.com. Once again, that's jeffbadu.com, jeffbadu.com, where you'll find infinite resources. 95% of the information on that website is 100% free. Right? Then you also have other things such as the Infinite Wealth course. And then today we'll talk about books, the top personal finance books to read. If you're just now tuning in, thank you for tuning into my show, Money Talks, where all we talk is money. live on WJT LP 98.3 FM. You can check us out on the radio, 98.3 FM in Chicago, or on WGHCradio.org. Once again, that's WGHCradio.org. All right? And then we're also streaming live on Facebook, and then we're streaming live on Instagram. If you don't mind, just pop it in the chat, right, where you're listening from, so we can give you a shout out. And then if you can like and share this video, it's always greatly appreciated. Shout out to Mac Rogers. He said, not gonna lie, you know your stuff, bro. Definitely appreciate it, Mac. It's all about information. Information is key, and you got to get it from the right places. You have to study it. You have to equip yourself with education, because if you don't, then you'll get left behind, and they won't care about you. They'll leave you with the scraps, right? We're talking steak. You want to eat steak, not government cheese. So if you want to eat steak, then you have to invest your money so you can afford the steak, right? But if you don't invest it, then you will have to get in line for some government cheese. Right, just something to keep in mind. All right, so let's talk about some top personal finance books that you should read, you should check out. So number one, you have to educate yourself. We just sat and talked about this. Education, right? Education. Real quick, Michael asked the question, is there a way to hear replays? Absolutely. Right when we're done, and with all the archives, by the way, as soon as we're done with the Facebook and Instagram Live, what happens is it gets posted on my page. So you just go to my page, and you can rewatch it, like it, and share it too. Always greatly appreciate it. And all the other videos in the past, every single one, all the way back to 2016, right, 5 years ago, when I started the show, is actually on there. And then if you can't find it there for whatever reason, it's also on my YouTube channel, which is Jeff Badu on YouTube. Once again, that's Jeff Badu on YouTube. You can also get a direct link on jeffbadu.com, JEFFBADU.com. So definitely appreciate everyone for tuning in there, and check out the resources. All right, so back to the topic. You have to equip yourself with education. Education is key. When you learn something, you act. All right, you actually act. You don't just get the information and just sit down like, oh, this doesn't apply to me. What I'm telling you right now today, so far, is applicable to everybody listening right now. All right, so that means that you have to equip yourself with education. Education. Warren Buffett did not become a multi-billionaire just sitting on his couch, reading and not taking action. Warren Buffett reads probably about 5 hours a day. Minimum. 5 hours a day. He's soaking in knowledge. He's studying companies. He's studying books. He's always looking to get better. And if you look at all the greats across history, they all have something in common. They educated themselves, and they took action. And they took action immediately. They didn't wait for a trend to start. They started the trend themselves. Think about Amazon with Jeff Bezos, right? He started a trend. Online retail. Online bookstore became a, retail behemoth. Turned tech company, turned shipping company, turned grocery store, turned all these things, and just enhanced the online, the ease and the convenience. Nowadays, you can order anything. You do not have to get off your couch anymore to get groceries. All right? You don't have to get off your couch anymore to buy supplies for your house. You literally don't. You don't. You can do everything from home nowadays. Now, I would hope that you're reading a book with the time you've saved into not having to go to the grocery store, especially if you're in the brutal Chicago winters like I am. I would hope that you're doing something productive with your time. My advice to you today is try to read at least 3 hours a day. It's hard. Like, you're probably asking, where in the world do I find the time? How can I read 3 hours a day? How can I do such a thing? I don't have time. I'm in school. I got work to do. I got kids. I'm about to get married. what do I do to get 3 hours committed to reading a day? My advice, time block. It's real simple. And it doesn't have to be 3 straight hours. It can be 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, or it can be an hour here, hour there, hour there. There's a thing called Pomodoros, by the way, which are time blocks in your calendar that allow you to commit to a certain, task or a certain thing that you love doing, a commitment, basically. And essentially, all you're doing here is you're putting it in your calendar, your Google Calendar, Outlook, whatever it is, and saying between 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., I'm going to read this book. Now, if you're like me, who doesn't like reading the text book, like the actual text, and you like audiobooks, that's fine too. On my way to my radio show, I was listening to a book. It's called The Millionaire Rental Property Investor. Right? I was listening to the book on my way here. It was only a 10-minute drive or so, but now I got 10 minutes of information pounding in my brain. So my advice to you, try to dedicate 3 hours a day to read. And if you can't do 3, try to do at least an hour a day. At least. Anybody listening right now, every single person on my Facebook, every single person on my Instagram can dedicate an hour each day to reading something. Every single person. It don't matter how busy you are. It don't matter how busy you are. You can commit to an hour a day of reading. It's guaranteed, without a doubt. Where do you find the time? Look in your calendar. Look in your schedule. Where can you pull time? Where can you create time, first of all? Maybe you're such a busy business owner. Well, maybe it's time to hire some people. Of course, it's hard to get good talent, but hey, it's not impossible. You just got to look. So that's advice. One advice of the day is try to commit 3 hours a day to reading, crafting your, gaining knowledge, education. And if not, then do an hour. Do at least an hour. So today I'm going to talk about a few personal finance books that have helped me get to the next level, that have helped my mind evolve over time, that have helped me make certain decisions. Now, the first 3 books are actually books that I've written. First 3 books are books that I've written, right? And then the last set of books are the books that I haven't written, but have taken me to the level that, I desire to be at. So, for me, what I did after reading all these books, keep in mind, I read at least 30 books a year. I basically literally consume about 1,000 hours of education each and every year, whether it be from books, videos, blogs, talking to different people, mentors, literally, right? 1,000 hours a year. And with that, what I've done is I've taken all of that knowledge and education and put them into books. All right, put them into books. All right. And Vinny did make a comment. He said, we read so many pointless books in school. I'm getting better at it now. That is true. I would agree with that. We do read a lot of pointless books in school. So these books right here are going to take your personal finance knowledge and education to the next level. So within these 3 books that I've written, they summarize what I've learned from all the other books, basically. And they're short. Like, they're very, very short books. They literally condense all the stuff that I've been able to learn and put it all into, summarized versions, basically. And then, of course, adding my own twist. For example, book number 1, Infinite Expansion, How to Infinitely Expand Your Vision of Abundance. Once again, Infinite Expansion, How to Infinitely Expand Your Vision of Abundance. This is a book that I wrote last year about my purpose in life, which is to inspire and support the super hungry to take hold of infinite resources in order to create an abundant lifestyle. All right, so it talks about the 12 steps to creating an abundant lifestyle. How did I come up with these 12 steps? Well, some of them are from reading the other books that I'm going to mention to you today. So literally lays out in 12 steps to creating an abundant lifestyle. It has exercises in there. It has different mindset things that you can do. And this book is actually available on Amazon. You can go to Amazon.com right now and check out the book, Infinite Expansion, How to Infinitely Expand Your Vision of Abundance. It's an ebook and also a physical book. And as a, as a hint, right, we do have a special gift coming out at the end of this year. Special gift. Won't exactly say what it is, but a special gift coming out at the end of this year. And I think it'll basically put everything into full perspective as to why I wrote that book, Infinite Expansion book. So be on the lookout, please, for that. Number 2 is 7 figures, how to become a millionaire. Back in college, I have these visions. I don't know, for some reason I can see 10 years into the future. All right, 10 years into the future. So I had my 2020 vision, and part of my 2020 vision was to write a book about how to become a millionaire. And for me, I actually was able to accelerate my 2020 vision to 2018. Right? So basically, I wrote a book called 7 Figures, How to Become a Millionaire. Now, I didn't release it until later. I actually didn't release it until later, right, 2020. But at the same time, the 7 Figures book was a way for me to explain the journey. It's a very short book. I don't even think it's 30 pages. Very short book. It literally talks about the things that you need to do if you want to become a millionaire, which is technically a 7-figure net worth. All right, so for me, back in 2010, I created my 2020 vision, and one of them was to write a book and teach people how to become a millionaire. Right? I, of course, had to do it myself before I taught somebody else. How can I teach somebody something that I haven't even done myself? It's impossible. I can point them to resources, but I'm talking writing my own book about the journey, about the process. So that is the second book. That brings up principles of like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, the 4-Hour Work Week. All these different books that teach you, critical principles to elevate you to the next level. Right? Now, you'll find out in the book, it's not just about the money piece. It's not just about, oh, yeah, I got $1 million and that's it. As a matter of fact, it'll show you why getting to $1 million is something that, like, you'll get excited a little bit, but you'll lose excitement after truly realizing the value when it comes to your life. Right? You'll lose excitement a bit. Yeah, you'll celebrate. Right? So, that book is 7 Figures, How to Become a Millionaire. And for those that are on Instagram, you can actually get a free copy of the book. It's the first link in my bio. First link in my bio. You can also go to BaduInfiniteWealth.com. Once again, that's BaduInfiniteWealth.com. And you get a free copy of the 7 Figures book, How to Become a Millionaire. If you do want to show support, right, then you can go ahead and go to JeffBadu.com. And you can actually get the book as well. All right, so we got a comment from Jerry. Shout out to Jerry Bafour, who's the Chief Project Manager of Badu Tax Services. He's live on Facebook right now. He said, I get the Infinite Expansion book ASAP. There's only 6 copies left in stock at the moment. That's right. There's only 6 copies left. All right, if you want to get the Infinite Expansion book, there's only 6 copies left right now on Amazon. He posted the link on Facebook. But for those that are on Instagram, I believe it's the fourth link. Check out the 4th link in my bio. It takes you directly to the Amazon page for the Infinite Expansion book. It's the most important book that I have written and I will ever write in my life. There's no book that will be more important in my life that I'll write than the Infinite Expansion book. I literally poured my heart and soul into that book. right? So I strongly encourage you to check that book out. All right, and then let's see, King LaPierre, King L.A. Pierre. Hopefully I said that right. Said we'll get the book. We'll try to get the book. Yeah, hop on Amazon, right? Hop on Amazon, get the book. And then last but not least is Vinny says, I'm getting it. Absolutely, Vinny. Shout out to you for that. Number 3, for my real estate investors, or even those who don't yet value real estate, you might value it after reading this book. It's called The Legendary Asset, 6 Reasons Why You Should Own Real Estate. Right? The Legendary Asset, 6 Reasons Why You Should Own Real Estate. It was actually the first book that I've ever written. And I found a tool, I found an investment so precious, so valuable, that I decided to write a whole book about it. It's only 21 pages. One thing about my books, they're very short. Very short. Right? I deal with a lot of millennials, and I understand that we don't necessarily like to go too in-depth sometimes. So it gives you exactly what you need in a very, very short version. It takes Rich Dad, Poor Dad and condenses it into 21 pages, basically. Right? Of course, you won't get all the stuff in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right, in 21 pages. But you're going to get the key things. The things that I learned about how to make money work for you instead of you working for it. How to make your money work harder than you do. Right? How to build passive income from your active income so that you don't pay any taxes ever in your life. All right? So just something to keep in mind. Shout out to Tanya from Keller Williams from joining us today. So 3 books. Let me recap that real quick. Infinite Expansion, How to Infinitely Expand Your Vision of Abundance. Then 7 Figures, How to Become a Millionaire. The Legendary Asset, 6 Reasons Why You Should Own Real Estate. All 3 books. You can check it out on my website, jeffbadu.com. Once again, that's jeffbadu.com, jeffbadu.com. There's also a lot of infinite resources on there as well. And as Jerry pointed out, Amazon only has 6 copies of my book left, the Infinite Expansion book, before they're sold out. And then they have to basically request new copies, which can take, to my understanding, a few weeks. By the way, Amazon handles all the distribution. They handle all that stuff. You know, I personally, right, have only ordered a few copies of the book. And it's more so, for one, I actually reread the book. And then 2, I handed some over to our Badu Foundation students. It's actually required reading to become a Badu Foundation student and to get through the program. You have to read the book, basically. All right, so that's just a snippet in case you wondered, hey, what do you guys do? What do you guys teach the students? We teach them about creating abundance in their lives. All right. And then Vinny asks, is there an audio version or is it just hard copy? So that's a great question. There's an ebook, first of all. There's an ebook on Amazon. So you can get the ebook as well on Amazon. But there's a video that I did on my YouTube channel that recaps the book. There is a video that I did. Of course, you want to read the book. Like, read it from start to finish. The reason why is because it has exercises built in within it. You know, it takes it to the next level. The videos, the audio, it recaps the book. The book itself, it gets deep. Right? It goes deep into the mental. It literally, it literally taps into your mind and says, if you're a scarcity-minded thinker, you're going to go into abundance after reading the book. Your mind is naturally going to, it's going to shift for the better. And for me, I had to make that switch. And what helped me make the switch was reading the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Right? So just something to think about. Remember, at the end of this year, we do have a special gift coming out. We're still putting the final touches on it. It's still in the kitchen, getting cooked up. We have something very special coming out at the end of this year. And I think everybody will love it. So just something to keep in mind. And by the way, check out the Infinite Wealth course too. Right, check out the Infinite Wealth course. Now, that's more in video format. So if you want something in video format that recaps all the wealth building principles, then check out the Infinite Wealth course. Type in the code INFINITE. Once again, the code INFINITE for a chance to receive 50% off the course. INFINITE to receive 50% off the course. For those on my Instagram, it's the second link in my bio. All right, you click the link and then type in the code INFINITE for 50% off. And then for those on Facebook, just go to jeffbadu.com. You can also type in the code INFINITE to get 50% off the Infinite Wealth course. All right, so we got 13 minutes to go. So let me go ahead and recap. So these next set of books are books that I haven't written, but have changed my life tremendously. And, you know, I would say if you want like an order of books to read my 3 books, because that's going to help. It's pretty much going to summarize and give you all that you need. Like if you didn't have the time, quote unquote. I always love when people say I don't have time for something, by the way. But in the event you don't have time, right, to read these other books, these are more in depth. I mean, these can be quite a bit of pages, right? 7 Figures book, 30 pages. Legendary Asset book, 21 pages. Infinite Expansion book, 80 pages. Right, we're not talking the longest books in the world. These next books, they're about 300 to 400 plus pages. So it requires a bit more time. But I do believe it's extremely important to dedicate some time to read these books. I don't want you just to read my books. I do want you to read them first because they give you what you need. They give you all the nuggets. But, you know, I want you to go ahead and read these next books. Number 1, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Without a doubt, it's the number 1 book outside of the books that I've written that has changed my life forever. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I actually didn't read the book until 2016. Believe it or not, after I had launched Badu Tax Services, by the way. And I'm like, man, I was kicking myself. Like, how in the world did I not read this book? Well, maybe because I probably wouldn't have finished college had I read the book, right? While I was in college. I probably would have left college. I probably wouldn't be a CPA right now, running a CPA firm. So everything happens for a reason. And you can't challenge God's timing for your, for your life. So it happened for the better, probably. But long story short, I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad in 2016, and it changed my life forever. It expanded my mindset. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was written by Robert Kiyosaki. And essentially, it teaches you fundamentals. Robert Kiyosaki had 2 dads. Of course, one real dad. One dad was quote-unquote rich. The other one was poor. Rich in what? Rich in mindset. Right? Abundance. The other one was poor. Poor in mindset. Scarcity. Low thinker. Someone who is all about go to school, get a job, get a pension. And then we got this other guy, he says, man, screw all that. Let's start a business. Let it feed itself. Let it produce income. Put that income into real estate, rental properties, income producing assets, and then use the rental income to pay bills and fund your lifestyle. That way you don't have to rely on working for money to survive, yet alone thrive. And I'm like, man, nobody ever taught me that. Nobody. Not my teachers. Nobody. So it changed the game forever. It taught me how to buy real estate. It taught me how to avoid paying income taxes legally for the rest of my life. And it taught me how to work less. And I'm like, this book is a must read. If you have not read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I don't know what to say. I strongly recommend you read the book. It is a great book. And to me, outside of the books that I've written, it's the number 1 personal finance book that I've ever read in my entire life. And it's not just about the money piece. It teaches you how to live a better lifestyle. Right? Robert shares with you all the stories, all the trials and tribulations that he went through as a kid, all the way to his adult years. Right? Bankruptcies and all that stuff. He'll show you. He'll teach you how to avoid making mistakes that people 20 years from now are going to make. 20 years from now. He helped me avoid a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. Like overpaying in taxes, for example. Why should you be overpaying in taxes when there's legal loopholes and strategies out there that allow you to not legally pay income taxes? Like, why in the world would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. By the way, there's a Biden tax plan coming up, a Biden tax hikes, I should say, and it is set to pass by the end of this year. And we're doing a free webinar tomorrow night from 6 to 7 p.m. Central. The flyers have been posted on my Facebook and Instagram page. I encourage you to attend, learn, ask questions, and see how we can help you save money on taxes. Worst case, you learn about the plan, the Biden tax hikes, right? So we're going through a deep dive of the Biden tax hikes tomorrow night from 6 to 7 p.m. Central on Zoom. So that'll be via Zoom. And we did post the flyers as to how to RSVP and everything like that. So number 1 is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Number 2 is Cash Flow Quadrant, is the part 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you have not read the book Cash Flow Quadrant and you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, you should read Cash Flow Quadrant. That's the part 2. That goes deeper into the 4 quadrants, right? It goes more in depth into the 4 quadrants. For example, being an employee, a W-2 employee, probably the worst quadrant to be in, because there's a lot of taxes to pay. So he's teaching you how to shift from being an employee into being a business owner, where you start off as a small business owner and then you become a big business owner. And then you reinvest your profits into income producing assets such as real estate. So he's showing you how to pay no taxes and also let your money work for you so that you build infinite wealth. Number 3 is not really a personal finance book, but I think it is. It's not labeled personal finance, but it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Man, when I read this book, it was a game changer. Right? I read it, I believe it was back in 2017. Even my dating life changed because of that book. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Not in a bad way, not in a negative way, right? You're just influencing. How to be an influencer to people. This helped me get more clients. This helped me, this helped me in a lot of areas in life. So it teaches you what to do and what not to do. How to build long-term, lasting, successful relationships. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Powerful book. Powerful book. I actually plan to reread the book. Very, very powerful book. Number 4 on the list is The Power of Broke by Damon John. This book is deep. And Damon John shared a lot of nuggets in this one. Right? From being broke to starting a $1 billion company. FUBU. And he walks you through the journey every single step of the way. All the trials and tribulations. All the pain and suffering. I respect people more for their struggles that they share as opposed to their successes. And these books share with you the struggles. All these books I'm mentioning you right now. Before they talk about the successes, they share the struggles too. So The Power of Broke by Damon John is very, very powerful. Shout out to Mr. Shark Tank. He talks about when you have nothing to lose, you have no choice but to go out and get it. Right? Inspiration, motivation. And then last but not least is Money Master the Game. Money Master the Game. OMG. If you thought you knew about money, you don't know anything until you read Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. Like, I'm talking deep knowledge where he interviews the most successful people on the planet. I'm talking people who know deep about money, and they take off the gloves, and they tell you what it is, basically, when it comes to the money game. How to avoid getting screwed over by Wall Street. Right? Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. Powerful. Just read it. Just go ahead and read it. Just go ahead and read it. You know, this allowed me to become smarter when it comes to money. Where money should be parked. How to choose my investments. Now, you should always have experts on your team, but by reading these books, it allows you to gain an upper advantage. It allows you to know a thing or two before you go out to your advisor and ask for advice. Right? And then Me Fancy said, OMG, I love that book. That book literally changed my life. Power of Broke. Absolutely. I have a client who that book changed her entire life after reading it. I mean, she literally went from broke to she don't know what to do with her money right now. Like she does not know what to do with her money because she grinded. Like this book teaches you grind. Right? So if you were to read these books, let's say for 2021, or let's just say in 2022, by the end of 2022, I challenge you to make it your goal to read these 8 books that I shared with you. Right? The 8 books that I shared with you. Infinite Expansion, how to infinitely expand your vision of abundance. 7 Figures, how to become a millionaire. The Legendary Asset, 6 reasons why you should own real estate. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Cash Flow Quadrant. All right, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The Power of Broke. And last but not least, Money Master the Game. These 8 books right here will change your life forever. Pray on it too. Before you read them, pray on it. Let God manifest. Right, whatever you're about to read, let God basically allow it to manifest within you. All right. So MC Fancy says, or Me Fancy, I should say, yes, and I need the book at the right time. At the right time, I just lost my job, forcing me to bet it all on my business. Hey, sometimes you gotta bet it all. Sometimes you gotta stack your chips and put it all in. Sometimes you gotta bet it all. So hopefully that gave you some insight. We are out of time. It is 8 p.m. Central. I hope you enjoyed this talk today. Thank you for tuning in to WJCLP, Chicago 98.3 FM. My name is Jeff Badu, and I look forward to continuously delivering you all some content. Thank you.